Howdy, welcome back to Dion Talk. In today's video, I have Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time who's going to help us out with a concept. To me, it seems like when we're kids, we look at money differently than when we're adults. When we're young, we might get an allowance or clean the neighbor's yard to earn $10. And we look at money like we've got this money that we can spend. As an adult, we realize that to get that money, we need to work for it. But it seems like no matter how much we work and how much money we get, we're always spending all of it, like we make money to spend it. And if this is your first time on my channel, my goal is to teach the average person that you can reach financial independence in less than 10 years, even if you're not starting from the best position. I did it in about 8, starting as a single parent with 3 kids, about $89,000 in bad debt that I didn't know existed until I got divorced. Mike has been investing for over 20 years. He has over 180 rental units. Mike and I's goal is to show the average person that you can reach financial independence, and it doesn't take anything special or secret. A lot of times, what it really boils down to is your mindset when it comes to money and how you actually look at it. So as we finally get to this stage where we start seeing finances the way a kid does and then a grown-up does, now we actually have somebody who's educated who can explain this to us. So I'd like Mike to take a few minutes and break down how a family could go broke making $200,000 a year.
Thanks, Dion. This is an important conversation because there's 2 things going on as I walk through this with you. First, I want to dispel the idea that high income is the answer. And I say that as someone who believed it. Why did I go to get a college degree? Because I believed it unlocked income. Why did I go get a master's degree? Because I believe it unlocked income. So I bring you this as someone who was chasing high income the whole time. High income is not the answer. I know plenty of people today who make 7 figures a year that are 1 paycheck, maybe 2 from being broke. And then the second one is we have to talk to our kids about money. And it's not supposed to be taboo. If we don't talk to them about money, they will make the same mistakes we have made. So this is a story that's meant to shock you. And that is, if you make 200 grand a year and your spending habits are just kind of normal, you could be going broke. So I published a video called Going Broke on 200K, where I outline line by line income, taxes, 401k, housing, cars, insurance, food, clothes, entertainment, just on and on and on and down the line. And it should surprise you. It should shock you. It should make you sick. Family that made 200 grand top line had $5,700 left over. That was quote unquote disposable income. Now I use that disposable income to calculate what I call a financial health score. And their financial health score was a terrible 4.5, right? If you're anything below 40, you're in bad shape. So theirs was horribly low. It's almost negative. Frankly, it is so bad. The problem with having 200 grand and then having $5,700 left over is you really have no margin of error. You're frankly not lendable.
I'm sorry, and that 5,000 and some change is how much they have to spend that's disposable per year?
That was a year number, yes. Yeah, so that it's funny because if you think 200 grand a year, that's almost $100 an hour top line. You know what $5,700 a year is? It's $2.74 an hour. So they bust their ass 8 hours a day for about $18, $19. That's how much disposable income they're adding to their family every day. It's unacceptable. We need to understand that if we choose to live a lifestyle of a consumer, right? We've talked about investor consumer before. If we live a lifestyle of a consumer, that is what happens. You live so close to the razor's edge that you are one whoops away from being bankrupt. And a family making 200 grand a year that only has $5,000 discretionary is not okay. That's what our economy wants, right? We want you to go buy the new whip. We want you to buy the bigger house. We want you to do this. We want you to do that. But for your family, trust me, having 15 grand left over or 20 grand left over is a lot better than 5. And the story goes, if you really only had $5,700 left over and your child, who you love to death, wants an $1,100 video game, console, or whatever the hell they are today, phone, whatever it is, if you look at your top line, you can buy that thing for them in about 10 hours. So it's about a day, and then you work 2 hours on Tuesday. That's not how life works. After taxes, what's called net income. Now you're working till like Wednesday. But in reality, that's not how life works. How life works is you have gross, you have after taxes, and then you have a whole set of fixed expenses: housing, cars, entertainment, food, blah, 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 blah. And this family would have to work 50 days to afford that video game. I would tell you it's not worth it. So, folks, talk to your kids about money. Don't talk about price tags. Tell them how long mom and dad have to work. If your kids are young, maybe work is a word they don't know. Talk about playtime. Mom and dad can't play with you for 5 months in order to buy the game, or whatever it is. We just got to talk about money. It has to stop being taboo. We can't talk about top line, because the other thing you could do is you could have 3 people going on a vacation from high income to low income. And maybe, given lifestyle, the person on the low income scales flexing because they got the money to afford the trip. The person at the high income's going, I don't know how I'm going to afford it. I guess I'll charge it. It's not income, folks. It's how much, it's the consumer in you, how much you choose to consume of that income, how much you have left over so you can invest and buy assets. The family I talk about making 200 grand a year, they're going to go broke, man. One of them's going to get laid off. They're going to have an automobile issue, a health event, something, and they're just not going to have it. The consumer that we've been trained to be is leading to our financial ruin.
Well, one of the problems that we have is that the education system is not supposed to teach you about finances, right? The large corporations, the Rockefellers, the Fords, they built all the schools across the country saying, we'll provide schools as long as you don't teach finances so that we can have employees for our factories. So the idea was finances should be taught by our parents. And if our parents aren't wealthy, the information we're getting is from somebody who doesn't know it. And I do teach a lot of classes for people getting out of the military, because coming out of the military, the one thing that they can't go to their command for, they can go to their command and say, hey, I want to buy a house. Some of them have done that. They could say, I need to move to a new duty station. Some of them have done that. They could say, I'm getting a divorce. Some of them have done that. They can't say, what's it like when I get out? Because their command is still in. So if you're asking your parents how you reach wealth status or make work optional and they haven't done it, your information is going to be kind of skewed. So you do get things like go get educated, get a high paying job. No one talks about life creep. And I don't know that I've ever heard anybody break it down the way you did on kind of like talking to managers at a company. You explain a company's burn rate. These are our fixed expenses. Until we hit this point, we burn this every month. We're not making a penny until we pass that. And then we've got these variable expenses that we do have some control over. But that's the way a family unit works too. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier, when you're a kid, we see money as I made $10 cleaning that yard over there. I have $10 to spend because your housing and your food and your medical and all that's covered. And then as we grow up, we realize I have some fixed expenses, so I need to do some overtime to get more money to spend. Or get a side hustle instead of thinking, how much time does my money equal? And you put it perfectly when you say, even if you're making a high income and you break it down to what's left after all of your expenses, and then you spread that amount over your time horizon, you start to look at your expenses very differently. And you're right with the vacation thing. I've talked to so many people who are making really good money and they go on a vacation to parts of Europe where they spend $15,000 to $30,000, or there's other people like myself. I make a decent amount of money now and I'm financially free based off rental income, but my vacations are to Thailand or Colombia, go for a whole month, and it costs me less than it would cost to live here and just eat in the United States. What I'm really hoping is that what you said resonates with people and they could start looking at the time that it takes to make what's left over.
Yeah, it's really, I wish we would be comfortable talking about disposable income more. Most of us want to flex about how much money we make, right? You can even see it on social media and real estate. Everybody is flexing that closing statement. You really have no idea on carrying costs, make ready costs, all of these other things. Some of those folks could have freaking lost money, but they're not showing you that, right? They're not giving you the receipts. So folks, if you're going to be in your family unit, stop talking about gross, not even net. I want you talking about disposable income, how much you have left that is variable. I mean, that you could, in theory, light on fire and it wouldn't impact anything else, right? You could do whatever you want with it. You could save it, burn it, wouldn't matter. A family making 200 grand that only has 5 grand or $2 an hour, That's not okay. Be better than that.
That is awesome. And we'll wrap it up there. And I can't thank you enough for coming on. I look forward to next week when I'm on your channel. For everybody watching, until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.